Dr. Bawumia said government is keen on protecting the public purse, and the Auditor General's role is vital in achieving this while fighting corruption in the country. 3 other boards, the Audit Service, Internal Audit Agency, and the Civil Service boards were also sworn into office.
First to be inducted into office was the Governing Council of the Civil Service. This is the 7th Council of the Civil Service. The 9-member board is chaired by a former Supreme Court Judge, Justice Rose Constance Owusu. Its duty is to ensure implementation of the Civil Service Law 1993, which is to assist the government in the formulating and implementing of government policies to develop the nation. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, charged the board to shape the civil service into a world-class one, challenging them to be relevant to meet current demands and improve service. The chair of the council, Justice Rose Constance Owusu, promised the board's commitment to chart a progressive and transformative path. The Internal Audit Board is the governing board of the agency. It formulates policies by establishing appropriate structures to effectively and efficiently execute its role. Swearing the board, Dr. Bawumia said internal auditors are key to the government's fight against corruption and to protect the public purse. He commended the board for rolling out measures to save the country about 387 million Ghana cedis in 2020. The acting board chair, Dr. Amperi Fofi, called for a new approach to public sector auditing in Ghana and better conditions of service for the internal auditors. The next was the Auditor General, Mr. Johnson Akuyamo-Asiedu. His job is to check the spending of public funds and resources by looking at whether these were used for the intended purposes with regard to economy, efficiency and effectiveness. He urged the new Auditor General to work with the board to uplift the image of the board by ensuring accountability, transparency in the quest to fight corruption in Ghana.
It is expected that the Auditor General will continue to perform the functions of the office with diligence and utmost professionalism. It is my wish and prayer that you will not only continue with this current level of efficiency, but also move the affairs of the service beyond all the expectations of the government.
The Auditor General, Mr. Johnson Akuyamo-Asiedu, said he will ensure that the public purse is well protected.
We promise that we will not fail you, and we will not fail the good people of Ghana in our fight against corruption and zealously protecting the public purse.
The board is chaired by Professor Dia Ajiman, a former Auditor General.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says corruption is the biggest moral canker eating at the fabric of society. At the 76th graduation of the Trinity Theological Seminary in Accra, Dr. Bawumia said faith-based organizations are duty-bound to support the government's digitization efforts to reduce corruption while demanding a high sense of morality from those who seek to occupy public office. Seminary was established to offer Christian training, teachings, guidance, counseling for holistic ministry. It also trains individuals for ordained ministry and church workers for growth and development. The seminary has been the center for training for many ministers of the gospel. In 2021, 217 ministers of the gospel graduated, 16 earned a certificate in ministry, and 54 graduated with a bachelor's in theology. In the master's category, 91 were honored with Master of Arts in Ministry, 41 had Masters in Divinity, and 11 earned a Master's of Theology. 3 ministers were conferred with a doctorate in philosophy in theology. The presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Professor Paul Boafo, challenged the new graduating class to use their ministry to bring change in society. A member of the Council of State, Professor Atu Isuman, said education in the country must focus on morality and integrity.
Morality is the bedrock upon which society rests. Every society is structured on moral principles. The neglect of public morality in any society is diametrically opposite to a development and growth, and in our context, nation building. Such society experiences injustice, instability, public corruption, social disorder, and many other vices that are inimical to its development.
The president of the Trinity Theological Seminary, Reverend Professor Kwabena Asamoah Jedu, said high standards of morality must be demanded from public office holders.
You see how a country as religious as ours has simply descended into impiety of the worst kind. There are people who cannot construct one sentence as they run political commentaries without inserting an insult into what they are trying to put across. The decline in public morality has brought our nation to a dangerous level in which leading public figures continue to run down our important institutions, such as the Supreme Court and the Electoral Commission, because some judgment or some decision did not favor their cause.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, said the surest way to fight the high levels of corruption in Ghana is reducing the human interface in government services.
We must endeavor, both in our public and our private lives, to do what is morally right and eschew what is morally evil. A high sense of morality is sine qua non of good citizenship. Religion is what we need in order to build a good society.
Dr. Bawumia said government will support the seminary with a hostel facility for the school. Also in this package, the Ghana Society of Radiographers is calling on government and the Allied Health Professional Council to get rid of health facilities and imaging centers that are not qualified to provide radiography services. Radiography remains the first-line investigation for suspected bone pathology before other imaging modalities such as MIR or CT scan. It requires the visualization of the internal parts of the body using X-ray techniques. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when some patients died from some underlying health conditions, radiographers played an essential role in determining most of the COVID-19 cases and how patients were progressing through CT scan and radiography. They admit that though good diagnostic images provided better health outcomes during the pandemic, COVID-19 revealed some challenges in their work. The president of the Ghana Society of Radiographers, Mr. Prince Roxon, therefore appealed to the Allied Health Professional Council to certify only qualified radiographers in the provision of clinical radiological services.
All students, once you are doing your internship, you are supposed to be supervised by a senior colleague. You are not supposed to work alone. When you finish your internship, they write a licensure exam. You wait for the result to come before you are given a pin to practice. That lagged phase, nobody should go in there and work. Should anything happen, there are medical legal issues that can be taken against them. This year's World Radiography Day is the 126th World Day and the first virtual celebration by the Ghana Society of Radiographers. It was under the theme, The Role of Radiographers in a Pandemic. Now, Ghana has signed a memorandum of understanding with two firms to develop a carbon market project and implement Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on Carbon Markets. The two, Mercuria Energy Trading in Switzerland and the Sweden Energy and Environment Agency, signed the agreement with the Environmental Protection Agency in Glasgow.
Energy, one of the largest integrated independent energy and commodities companies, is injecting some capital to build capabilities of local businesses to invest and implement greenhouse gas emissions reduction projects. The agreement will cover oil and gas, transportation, marine and coastal water conservation, alternative waste management, sustainable greenhouse energy, Forestry Red Plus program and other sectors of benefit to the parties. The Environmental Protection Agency is the implementing body in Ghana.
Even as the whole world has disappointed, the G20 has disappointed the whole world by giving out, coming out with promised $100 billion to help climate action financing. Sweden, in its own small way, find a bilateral way to deal with Ghana to realize our nationally determined contributions.
Next was Sweden's energy agency signing a memorandum of understanding on Article 6 of the Paris Agreement.
We've already entered into a bilateral agreement with the Swiss government. So we'll be guided by the government of Ghana, the EPA, which has a huge amount of expertise. We'll just be providing that financial and technical support.
Ghana's Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Kwekwe Friye, said actions being taken today are to avert a future disaster.
The human species is the most dangerous animal that you can encounter. And once you realize that we are on the brink of disaster, we must take actions that will walk us back. We are renting this earth for future generations, and we must take the steps, the concrete steps, to make restitutions that will inure to the benefit of future generations.
Sweden's Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Per Bolund, said working together will help achieve emission reduction.
The Paris Platform has provided us with a tool that we can use in order to achieve a higher emission when it comes to climate change mitigation. And that is the Article 6 platform, the opportunity to also work together to decrease emissions on a global scale.
All these are targeted towards achieving Ghana's nationally determined contribution, NDCs.
16 ICT teachers from junior high schools in the country's 16 regions are taking part in a 7-day Trainer of Trainers program in Coding at Chebi in the Eastern region. It is a program under the Digital Transformation Centers project to equip the teachers with skills in the use of coding tools to become master trainers in their respective schools. The Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication, GIFEC, is implementing the project with support from the International Telecommunications Union.
In 2020, the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, GIFEC, with support from the International Telecommunications Union, the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation and Cisco, introduced the Digital Transformation Centers project to help build an inclusive digital society. A major component of the project is to create a coding club for young girls across the country. Ahead of the formation of the clubs, 16 ICT teachers selected from junior high schools in the 16 regions of the country are being equipped with skills in the use of coding tools. The program includes Scratch, Python and HTML. After the training, they are expected to create a 64-member girls coding club within 2 years in their respective schools and pass on the acquired knowledge to the girls, who will in turn pass on the skills to their colleagues. The broader goal of the coding club for girls is to give an opportunity for girls to explore careers in ICT and develop their creativity. The head of Capacity and Skills Development at the International Telecommunications Union, Mrs. Anna Techla, said the ITU is impressed with the projects in the country that is centered on digital inclusion and bridging the digital divide.
I'm very happy to see how the teachers from the different communities are coming together here from the different schools to learn and strengthen their coding skills, and then they can bring that back to the schools and teach it to their pupils there. We are very happy to work with GIFEC, our counterpart, on this project.
The administrator of the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, Mr. Prince Ofususefa, said GIFEC's goal is to leave no one behind in the digital space, and therefore the ICT training programs will capture persons in the formal and informal sectors.
Skills development is crucial in the digitalization process, and it guarantees maximum and efficient use of digital equipment and technologies in a digitized society such as ours. To this end, GIFEC's capacity building program focuses primarily on providing various basic ICT skills to students, artisans, women, entrepreneurs, and the girl child.
2 teachers, Ms. Bridget Banini of the Hamdaria JHS and Mr. James Abusanga of the Levite DAJHS at Etimetim in the Ashanti region, say they have had insightful training.
The chief, traders and other residents of Eche-Amanfrom in the eastern region are calling on government to urgently beef up security in their community. Traders who use the Eche-Amanfrom road to Donkokrom complain of thieves who rob them of their goods and cash. They say robberies occur at least 3 times in a week. Here is a report by Beatrice Senaju.
For decades, Eche-Amanfrom has been a trading center for many from across the country, being the gateway to the Afram Plains and also the food basket for Ghana. Troop into the community daily to trade. Traders, drivers, workers and even students cross the Afram River to connect to Eche-Amanfrom with a pontoon. It is interesting to see the pontoon carry both heavy-duty trucks, foodstuffs and traders at one go across the river to Eche-Amanfrom. Upon arrival, these traders connect to Donkokrom and surrounding communities from Eche-Amanfrom for business. This is where their problems begin. Both traders and drivers are usually robbed halfway into their journey, mostly at gunpoint. Yao Awudu is a station master at Eche-Amanfrom. He narrates how their businesses have been adversely affected by the frequent robbery cases.
The robbers usually come in groups. They attack us at places the roads are on more trouble. We need our road fixed and at least a police post here.
And Mr. Nim is a driver and a victim to these robbery incidents on their roads. He gave an account of his ordeal.
We were stopped and asked to lie on the floor. They were 3 in number. They took our money and bolted because of an oncoming car.
The people are therefore sending an SOS to the government and any philanthropist to help resolve this worrying trend at Eche-Amanfrom. They believe a police post at Eche-Amanfrom will help reduce this menace in the town. Beatrice Senaju, GBC News, Eche-Amanfrom.
Young women between ages 15 and 25 years with only a high school education from underserved communities of the country have been trained for free in coding and digital skills. The initiative, driven by Rotary, seeks to empower them for the digital economy.
Training program dubbed Runko Rotary Girls Coding Project Cohort 5 is a partnership between the Rotary Club of Limburg Waterplus in Germany and the Rotary Club of Accra Airport. With a $75,000 global grant from Rotary International, the project forms part of Rotary's community economic development. The 3-year training program for the 300 young women in coding and digital skills will also include experimental leadership, etiquette, and entrepreneurial training. As part of the project sustainability plan, a business resource center has been established and currently manned by the graduates. It offers business services to the public to generate additional funding to sustain the program for an additional 5 years after the global grant ends. A member of the Rotary Club of Accra Airport, Rotarian David Nyante, advised the beneficiaries to make good use of the skills they have acquired.
Cohort 5, we send you off to a world shaped by coding. Now it is up to you to use your skills in coding and your soft skills to help yourselves and to help others. I am confident that you will, and make Soronko and Rotary proud as your predecessors have.
So far, 100 young women have already been trained since the start of the project in August 2020. This year, an additional 100 will be trained and another 100 trained in the 2022-2023 Rotary year.
Now, even though almost all 10,000 streets and intersections within the Kumasi metropolis have been assigned names, there is a very low public awareness about these names. Our Ashanti regional correspondent Nicholas Osewus reports that residents are unhappy with strange names attached to their streets and properties, but the KMA says the names are dummy-generated names and will be changed in due course.
10,000 streets and intersections have been identified within the Kumasi metropolis. All these streets and intersections have been assigned specific names. Just behind me is the name assigned to this particular street to my left, Emmanuel Assembly Street. And this street is supposed to reflect the Emmanuel Assemblies of God Church that everybody can identify with. On my right is the house belonging to a prominent resident of this area known as YF, Yao Frimpong. Everybody identifies with this man, and the streets have been named after this man. We want to engage the people to find out their level of awareness about the streets that have been assigned to where they stay, and whether or not they are even aware of these streets' names.
Yeah, Mammy Dean on what they the dinner at that if on board and it's an oh no, or ton fish near ye, but we're free.
I know my street name, Ofori Kuragu Avenue. Well, I came to meet it, but my understanding is that it is the name of the former member of parliament for Musmefrem Viabo.
Mr. Emmanuel Essel is a broadcaster in Kumasi. He also shares an interesting perspective to this development.
A lot of Ghanaians do not actually use these street names and things to identify people. They just mention names and then they go. So the awareness is just not there.
Based on this information given by the people of Kumasi, I would want to engage the Director of Physical Planning of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, Mr. Benjamin Ajay Boateng. What factors are considered in naming a street or intersection or a monument in the metropolis?
The stools provide names, the chiefs provide names, and we try to use them in order of importance, in order of prominence. Then, where we are unlucky to get names, we also use other names. It's not strictly that it has to be named after individuals. We can pick trees, you can pick flowers, to name them. Areas like the Nyame previously were having Valley Crescent, Palm Avenue, and the Cedar was purely after trees.
Certain new names are being assigned to properties of people. These are supposed to be reflective of some foreign names, people and geographical areas outside of the country. These are the views shared by some of the people.
Germany Germany
What is happening is that we send our data to them. so that they can marry our data with the GPS and whatever they are doing in Accra. But unfortunately, some of them, they couldn't do it. So they gave dummy names. I don't know if you get the word dummy names, and those dummy names will be replaced with the real names. That's why I said we'll go and if there's any variance or variation, we'll try and sort it out. Yeah, because we have the base data, So as for the GPS, is the correct one. Possibly the number will also be the right one, but the name, they generated dummy names,
But now we are being told that unlike previously, when the street names were auctioned for interested personalities to come and bid for them and have the street named after them as private individuals, it is no more the case. The bidding and auctioning system has stopped. Nicholas Osewusu reporting for GBC News, Kumasi.
Now to some health stories. The Ghana Health Service has embarked on an extensive vaccination exercise in the Savannah region after 16 were reported to have died of yellow fever. The Ghana Health Service on 29th October announced the outbreak of suspected yellow fever in the Savannah region. Yellow fever is a viral infection spread by a particular species of mosquito. The outbreak has been recorded in the West Gonja municipality and the North Gonja district of the region. As of Friday, November 12, the death toll had increased to 16, with others in critical condition. To bring the outbreak under control, the Ghana Health Service has started vaccinating people in the two assemblies with the hope of extending it across the region. Disease Control Officer of the Ghana Health Service in the Savannah region, Mr. Thomasuri, says about 90% of residents in affected communities in the North Gonja district have been vaccinated. Now, 7 bodies have been retrieved after a canoe which was ferrying some students of the St. Charles Wanga Junior High School at Saboba in the northern region capsized on the Oti River. 3 other students still missing. The victims were among 31 students of the school who had allegedly gone to work on their headmaster's farm earlier in the day and were returning home in batches when the disaster struck. According to police reports, personnel of the Ghana Police Service and the National Disaster Management Organization, as well as some residents of the area, were on a mission to retrieve the remaining bodies from the river. Meanwhile, reports from our regional correspondent Mutala Issa says bodies of the deceased have been handed over to respective families for burial. Which is next? The Apostolic Church Ghana Kaneshi Central District has donated assorted items to the Cocoa Clinic to enhance operations at the health facility. The gesture is part of the church's corporate social responsibility.
Items worth thousands of Ghana cedis included toiletries, disinfectants, bed sheets and hand-washing equipment. The Kaneshi area superintendent, Apostle Alex Boatin, said the church recognizes the risk hospital staff are exposed to in the quest to discharge their duty, hence the gesture. Receiving the item on behalf of management of the hospital, the Deputy Director of Cocoa Clinic, Dr. Eric Fojo, expressed gratitude to the church for the kind gesture. The church used the occasion to pray for the hospital and the nation as a whole.
You're still live on GBC News and on GTV. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more stories. Please don't go away.
A nightmare. The streets are a jumble of filth. The beauty of the serene beaches is marred with human feces and plastics as many defecate in the open. Residents are up in arms when the situation gets out of hand.
Because of these meetings, you can't even stand there for even a minute. As we speak here, if the mosquitoes even refuse to breed on it.
Partners in sanitation suggest alternative policy interventions.
Landfilling is not the way forward. We are recommending treatment facilities.
But in all of this, have we made gains in the sector?
How can you have a people who have a lot of dignity and still practicing open defecation?
The task facing Ghana to achieve SDG Goal 6 on clean water and sanitation for all is Herculean and riddled with equally complicated hurdles. Join us every Thursday on Wash Hour from 4:05 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we seek to put these issues and more in perspective. Watch a repeat on Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m. and on Sundays 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. It is our duty to keep our surroundings clean and free from disease.
Good morning.
It's a good morning and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
So what's your pleasure? Samvotras here at that time of the morning.
You want it served buffet style, complimentary breakfast?
On-site restaurant.
Or room service.
We've got you covered.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
With a trusted team.
So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
Every Wednesday at 9:05 a.m. live on GBC News, Unique 95.7 and all GBC regional stations, and on Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and a repeat on the same day at 11 p.m. on GTV. Focus, putting the issues in perspective.
We are back with more stories. This year's Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference has ended at Wa in the Upper West region with a call on government to put in place the necessary measures to alleviate the suffering of the people who have been affected by tidal waves in some coastal communities in the Volta region and Ada in the Greater Accra region. The communique was preceded with a mass at the St. Andrew Cathedral to wrap up the week-long plenary of the Assembly. The mass was led by the President of the GCBC, Most Reverend Philip Name. In a communique, the Vice President of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, Most Reverend Charles Gabriel Palmer Bakel, was not happy about the devastation caused by the tidal waves in parts of the Volta and Greater Accra regions.
We also wish to entreat the government to put in place the necessary measures to alleviate the sufferings of the people affected as they look for the necessary resources to construct the second phase of the Keta Sea Defense Wall.
The conference acknowledged the positive achievements chalked up by successive governments in infrastructural development, improved access to quality health, water, education, and other essential utilities. The bishops, however, said youth unemployment, bribery, corruption, and lack of patriotism, among others, still need to be tackled. On the position of the LGBTQI+, the conference said it still stands by its position that Ghanaians should support the passage of the Proper Sexual Human Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill.
We wish to reaffirm our unflinching support for this bill and to appeal to all Ghanaians to support it so that it is passed into law.
The bishops reminded the government to revisit the various recommendations made by the Professor Fiajo Constitutional Review Commission, especially on the need for a national development plan. The Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Obansuman Bagbin, donated 50,000 Ghana cedis to the conference, while the NDC caucus from the Upper West region donated 20,000 Ghana cedis. The donation was presented on behalf of the Speaker by the MP for Laura, Mr. Bid Zidane. Down to some business stories. Goldfields Ghana has presented a check of about 146 million cedis as interim dividend for the 2021 financial year to government in relation to its Takwa mine. The mining firm added a check of 13 million cedis as annual guaranteed advance payment for its inability to honor its dividend obligation to Goldfields Abosso operators of Damai mine, while pledging favorable policies to support mining sector growth. The Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Oforiatta, urged other mining companies to pay their dividends as agreed to help grow the economy.
Guys, let's do it. Imagine being able to refine all of this gold on the continent before it goes with LBMC licensing. That is an incredible amount of resources that we should. So we also need support to be able to build a refinery of LBMC standard, which enables us, like Botswana, to process all that it has before it goes out in a way that does not delay your ability to sell forward or whatever. So those are the type of relationships that we would like to build. Win-win, doesn't cost you much, and it changes the economics of the value add and use of our resources.
The dividend is something that we have a policy around it to make sure that our shareholders also get something from the operations. We've got an enviable reputation when it comes to meeting our financial obligations. And we are committed to creating value for our stakeholders, that is the shareholders, government, our host communities, and then also our employees.
Also in business, prices of cola nuts have been surging across West African markets, driven by poor harvests attributed to climate change and declining interest in cultivation. JBC News has been speaking with traders of the commodity at the Nima market in Accra on how this has impacted their business.
An important commodity in Africa is the edible seed from the cola tree. It is commercially produced in tropical rainforests of Central and West Africa and has great cultural relevance in the region. Its extracts are used for production of medicines and beverages, making it an important economic cash crop. About 40 cola species exist in the sub-region, but only Acuminata and Nitida have economic importance in Ghana and Nigeria. The fruit which has for centuries served as an important element of intra-trade, is a common sight in rural and urban markets in Ghana. Although the nuts are measured in kilogram on the international market, a size 34 bucket is used for its measurement in Ghana. A sack containing 10 buckets of good nuts currently ranges between 2,000 and 2,200 cedis, compared with 1,800 and 2,000 cedis in 2019. The price surge has been linked to a drop in supply in kola nut fruit due to the shift in cultivation of kola fruit attributed to deforestation and a shift of interest to cocoa farming.
Kola nut is good for our health, but misinformation surrounding its consumption has affected its patronage. They've been lying that it causes heart complications. Patronage has been low, coupled with supply constraints, have made the business difficult.
According to the traders, they have resorted to importing kola nuts from Ivory Coast for both industrial and domestic consumption as local production continues to decline.
We now rely on Abidjan for kola nuts. This has made its price very high.
The traders appealed to the government to support local cultivation of kola fruits through the One District, One Factory initiative to help revive their businesses.
They claim the kola tree affects cocoa cultivation, so most of the trees have been cut. This has affected supply. Government should support us with soft loans to revive our business.
While traders decry the declining domestic consumption of the fruit, the intake of the bitter kola, popularly known as namichingoro, is on the rise. The stimulant is perceived to boost sexual performance in men, among other health benefits. But more broadly, traders want measures and support schemes that will help Ghana regain her position as one of the major producers of the commodity. The foreign segment of the news returns after this quick break.
The gutters are choked with garbage. The streets are a jumble of filth. The beauty of the serene beaches is marred with human feces and plastics as many defecate in the open. Residents are up in arms when the situation gets out of hand.
Because of these litters, you can't even stand there for even a minute. As we speak here, if the mosquitoes even refuse to breathe on it.
Partners in sanitation suggest alternative policy interventions.
Landfilling is not the way forward. We are recommending treatment facilities.
But in all of this, have we made gains in the sector?
How can you have a people who have a lot of dignity and still practicing identification?
The task facing Ghana to achieve SDG Goal 6 on clean water and sanitation for all is Herculean and riddled with equally complicated hurdles. Join us every Thursday on Wash Hour from 4:05 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we seek to put these issues and more in perspective. Watch a repeat on Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m. and on Sundays 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. It is our duty to keep our surroundings clean and free from disease.